So this video is going to show you and explain how to use GoFormative as part of your classroom and as an assessment tool. So once you've made an account, when you log in, this is basically what you would be looking at, where across the top, these are your classes. You'll notice that they are linked to Google Classroom, which is really nice. So every time you create an assignment, you can also have it posted to Google Classroom, which I'll show you in a minute. These here are my formatives. You can also create folders to put your formatives in to organize them. So use this guy to make a new folder, click on this one to make a new formative. We'll explore that in a minute. Let's talk about what you're looking at right now. So I have a worksheet right here, Chapter 11 Review. It got assigned to 3 of my classes, my algebra classes. If I also wanted to assign it to one of these other classes, I could just click on the plus sign as it's hovering over it. And you can see in here, I can either assign only or assign in post. There's additional settings that you can pick from at the time that you assign it. I'm going to close out of that. Whereas this assignment was only assigned to my 2 pre-calc classes, and this one was assigned to my 3 Algebra 2 classes. Now, what's the difference between this lightning bolt and this little calendar? So a lightning bolt just means that this assignment is open and available for the students to complete. Whereas if there's a calendar, it's scheduled for a set amount of time. So you might have it open for only 1 hour. So that would be an example of maybe a quiz or a test that you want to give where you only want them to have access to it for 30 minutes. You can actually schedule a GoFormative. Now, formatives are really great because they self-grade, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. And you can export those to Google Classroom, which is really nice. So I'm going to click on a formative so that you can see what it looks like. So this is one that I've actually finished. So essentially, one of the options is you can upload existing worksheets that you have. That's what I primarily use this for, is for worksheets or assessments. And then you just click, and as you click inside of here, these little bubbles pop up, and on the right-hand side, you identify what's the type of question. You see you have lots of options here. You could do audio response if it's a foreign language class and have the kids, respond via audio. You then type the directions in, which for me pretty much just match the directions on the worksheet. And then you type in the correct answer choice. And you can have as many answer choices as you want. You can also allow a partial match. I'll show you an example of that in a minute. And you go through and you tag up your whole worksheet. And then once you're done, if you want to see what it looks like to the student, you can click this eye up here. And this will show you what the students see when they look at it. Just looks like they're being prompted to answer these questions based off of these. You can also, if you don't want to have this connected to your Google Classroom and you just want to send your students a link, or you want to embed it, if it's in Google Classroom, it'll automatically pop up. A few other things that you can do. You can set the type so that people can search for it. You can share it with other teachers. So there's this code right here. And what's going to happen is if another teacher types that code in, so let's go back to my main page, enter quick code, click go. My worksheet pops up and it lets me create a clone, so it's not going to affect the original formative of the other teacher. So let's actually look at the results of some of these. So there's a couple things you can do here. You can click on it and view the responses from here. You can close it from here. You can also delete it if you want. You can change the settings. Another way that you can view the results, if you don't want to just review one class results, you want to review all of them, is you can click on the formative. This is the edit page. There's also the assign page, so I could assign it to more classes. And there's view responses. Now, there's a couple things to go over on this. So these show the responses based on the question number. So question number 4, I see a lot of people got it wrong. Maybe I need to go back and reteach that. If you want to get more granular and you want to look at, how are my individual students doing on each of these? So first of all, let's look at the totals. So this shows the total for question 1 for each class period, question 2, question 3, and you can see if you've got some red, that means you've got some low scores and maybe you need to go back over that. But let's say you want to see how each student did. You just click the drop down arrow and it shows you each student and which ones they got right and which ones they got wrong. So you can look at this in a grid type. All right, so that's how you can view some responses. So let's go back and actually try to make a Go formative. So click New Formative, click the plus sign. Now you can create one from scratch by adding your own content. You can add questions. I like to upload something that I already have and then add questions to it. So I'm going to click here. So I'm going to upload a PDF from my computer. I'm going to grab this Puzzle Time review worksheet. One thing while it's uploading that I just want to note is what's really great about this is you could meet with students as a class, and then what you can tell them is, okay guys, we've checked in, I've taken attendance, I want you guys all, I've done my lesson, I want you to go work on that Go formative worksheet. And you can see in real time that they're logging in on the home screen and that they're working on it. And then you can tell them if you have questions, come back to my Zoom session, ask your questions, or when you finish the worksheet, check back in with me on Zoom. And so you can have two screens open where you're watching them work on your worksheet on the through Go formative, and at the same time you have your Zoom session open to offer them help while they're working. So here's my worksheet. I now can click on it, as you can see, and I can choose to add different types of questions. So I'm going to add a numeric question. What's my question? Maybe I say find the distribution, and I'm going to add my correct answer, which is 5. Now, why would you want to allow a partial match? That's easy. On this worksheet, you can see they have to find a numerical answer, but that's associated with a letter choice. And so on this worksheet, I had some kids typing in S. I had other kids typing in, 2.5. I had other kids typing in 2.5%. So allowing a partial match means they can do any of these and they'll get it correct. So you would just go through and you would continue to click, add whatever you want to this. You can move this afterwards if it's not in the right spot. It's really great. And you would do that until your whole sheet is correct. And then after which you can view it, you can share it, you can assign it straight from here. And like I showed you before, you can also view the responses and you can add a title up here. So that's basically how you would make, so this says untitled because I didn't title it, but you can go back at any time and edit it. So maybe I'll just call it demo. Now, one thing that's really great that I want to show you about this is sometimes students will type in answer choices. So let's say I notice that when I'm checking my responses, wow, a lot of kids got this wrong. I find that rather peculiar. I'm going to click on it and see why so many kids got this wrong. Well, look at this answer right here. Maybe the student did 3 decimal places instead of 2, and that's why it got marked wrong. Maybe they didn't take the square root, so they didn't simplify it. So what you can do in a situation like that, you can click on the student's response. You can type feedback to them and send it to them. You can also change what the grade was, and if you change it to correct, this is a really great feature. It prompts you to add the student response to the answer key. So if this was correct, you don't have to go back and add it to the answer key. You can just click add here, and it will add it for you. And you don't have to add it. You don't have to edit the answer key. You can also clear their answer. It should also be noted that you can actually require students to submit their work with each problem, and it would pop up right here. I believe I had an example of that. Let's see if I can find it. It's not popping up. Oh, there it is. Okay, so here's an example of a student who, when they submitted their answer, they also were able to upload a picture of their work to verify what their answer was. So that's also kind of nice. So yeah, so there's a lot of features to this. It syncs with Google Classroom. So when you're ready to export the grades, you can send them straight to Google Classroom. The other thing that's really great about Go Formative, you can go to this library here and you can search all the formatives that already exist out there. So you can filter by, site, you can filter by grade, topic, and you can pull up and look at some of the stuff that other people are making for Go Formative. So this is one that, it's made for kindergarten. That's really great. Sometimes you'll find stuff on here like, emoji exit ticket, that looks interesting. And then you can add it to your formatives list and you can use it yourself. So you don't necessarily have to make all your own formatives. You can if you want, but you can also search from thousands of existing ones and then just add it to your page. So that's a summary of how we can use GoFormative. This isn't an all-inclusive, but it does give you a pretty good idea of, you know, how to make a formative, how to get started, how to assign it to students, and the fact that it will sync with Google Classroom is really nice, and the auto grading feature is also really great.